Welcome, 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 everybody, to another New Teachings Thursdays. I am joined by the intrepid crew: Laura Massey, Amy, David, Dale and his new dog. Returned to him at last.
Oh,
hello everyone.
Before we start,
This is Meg. Welcome to the show, Meg.
We have a special thing just for Laura. Laura is going to do on the fly her special revocation for anxiousness for not having a title to the show. After 1 year of preparing Laura, we're putting her on the spot for a revocation on the fly. Laura Massey, the mic is yours.
thank you, Andrew. You give me like 5 minutes notice. So this is all because, guys, before the show, we were messaging, and I think I asked about 5 times what the title was going to be for the show tonight.
and you did
Because-
the last time you asked, you didn't ask the question. All you said was what, and me and Andrew knew what he said already. He said you already said it without saying it the 5th time.
So what? Yes, and we didn't know till about half an hour ago, and that's it. So Andrew said, right, you can do an anxiousness revocation. So just bear with me. I'm anxious, so I'll do the best I can do. Okay. I, in this ever-present moment of now, acknowledge that at times I have a stream of anxiousness that runs through me. That I have developed a form of apprehension for times when I haven't got the answer, or for when something isn't in place like I think it ought to be. I revoke all the times I overanalyze how something should be. I revoke all the times I feel that something is out of my control, that I feel it needs to be done, that it needs to be tidy and sorted. So I revoke all the times where I have that feeling of unease and I wriggle in my seat and I want something organized in the way I want it. I revoke all the times I feel anxious. And I revoke all the times that with that anxiousness, I will try and manipulate a situation. And I revoke all the times that this has happened in my childhood. So I revoke all the times where I have been scared to speak. I have been scared to voice my opinion. All the times I've been meek. All the times I have felt unprepared and dropped in at the deep end. All the times where this feeling of not being in control has given me some form of mental distress, a feeling of not being ready, unprepared, and a feeling of not good enough. So I revoke all the times that because of this lowered self-esteem, I have formed it into an anxiety, a fear, and a nervousness. I revoke all that now, and I invoke a feeling of peace, a feeling of calm, and a feeling that reminds myself that all is well. Aho.
Bravo, Laura. Bravo. May you conquer that next time you give us 5 questions in the morning. David, I understand you have a special announcement you want to bring up.
I did, but now I'm all anxious and stuff.
David, would you like my revocation?
I'm not sure I can do it. I'm not sure I can do it. All right, guys, for those of you who came to the AI Writers webinar, we're creating a partition inside the UCM community for you guys for a number of reasons, and I'll tell you why, because my email is inundated with people that need information. So I figure if I put information in one place, you guys can just simply access it. I'm going to send all of you guys a link in your email. You guys can congregate there, and y'all could share your stories and put it on notice boards and whatever else, and you guys can actually put little recordings of your stories and so on, the ones that you generated. I see my server is lit up with people. Actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that. Andrew has a problem.
Yes, I do. I admit it.
Andrew has a serious problem, right? Amy Kruzic is going to be the madam of the house in the UCM community. So she will be dealing with requests and stuff like that. We're going to set that up very, very soon. In case you're wondering what that means, it means you're going to have access to NDAs and copyright notices and contracts and stuff like that. We've uploaded all of that inside the community for those of you who want to get into business and put your stuff out there. We need to talk about that Amazon thing in a while, Andrew. But anyway, for those of you, we have copyright agreements, use of policy, use of material agreements, and all sorts of things already pre-written, written up there for you to make your life as simple and easy as possible. There's so many announcements I have to make, but now I'm all anxious. So,
but I remember, David, I reminded you of the community after the webinar, and you put your hand to your forehead. The first time in 2 years I've got you to do that. It took me 2 years to get that to happen again.
Okay. All right. So here's what's happening, because I need to do a revocation for empty-headedness. Okay. I'm thinking always in the future, so I don't necessarily have to deal with. I have a problem dealing with the minutia of the now. So as an example, I might send an email out that might give you the wrong date as an example. But we found a way to solve that problem by creating our own platform. So guys, let me just do a little bit of a promo here. The community is going to be Facebook-like without being Facebook. We control the algorithms, which means you can promote yourself. Period. Point. We got your contracts in there. We have a bunch of resources in there that are free for you to use. We have courses in there that you could take for free. There will be a paid section of the community that's neither here nor there. And the community will be moderated, so there will be no trolls. None. Zero. Madame across here will take care of the trolls.
Oh, yeah.
Handling the business. There's not going to be any trolls, nobody attacking anybody, no weirdos, no perverts, none of that stuff.
If you need Laura to hug one, just let her know. She'll
we have empowered Amy with a plus 25 sword of troll slaying.
Yes. Yes, slay people.
You can get all the information that you want inside there, including we're going to be streaming movies and stuff like that inside there for those of you who have missed a bunch of spiritual movies. We got the capabilities because it's our space in cyberspace. We are creating our own little nirvana in cyberspace.
No dead space either, too, right, David?
So, as a reminder,
sorry,
David. As a reminder, Tuesday, November 7th is the sign-up date for the training on the AI writer software.
Okay.
Tuesday, November 7th. So everyone that has not signed up for that training, Tuesday, November 7th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time will be that live webinar. We will have another webinar the next week. We will having a webinar essentially every week until Christmas to empower you with tools so you may fuck up 2024.
And we really mean that. So as we said in the webinar, for those of you who attended the webinar, you guys, as we said before, you guys can do whatever you want with the finished product. I know some people are losing sleep. Andrew, how are you still standing?
Coffee.
How many stories have you created?
30. But my last one doesn't count. Okay? I have to redo the last one. The AI had a trouble converting mixed martial arts, boxing, gold medal tournament into an actual novel versus an instructional journey. So I'll redo it. But 29 stories, all be between 27 and 38,000 words.
For those of you who are, yep, that's good, because for those of you who are joining the audio deck, please, when you make your creations, send them to us. We'll give you all the light of day.
I've started a new genre, which is yoga teacher love stories.
A series.
because those are a bunch of loveless fucks.
You try and say something, Andrew. You try and put something out there into the universe. Listen to me.
Well,
First of all,
normally
this is the kind of man that creates murder mysteries out of porta potties. I can never say that word correctly, right?
Well, the funny part is I got the AI to do it. I just put the keywords in.
Ooh.
Ooh, what were your keywords?
What were the keywords?
keywords?
Serial killer, porta potty, criminal procedure, drama.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a story about a guy who kills people who use the porta potty.
Yes, at big events, live events. Yes. Like put the bomb in the porta potty, poison on the toilet seat, stuff like that.
Oh.
Anyway, it created that, not me. I just keyworded it. Now back to the genres.
Mm-hmm.
In the journey of trying to get the AI to put out something that was in novel format, not necessarily purely in the fantasy, but love, romantic comedy, etc., etc. I've tapped into all of those genres. And for anybody that's out there that's having trouble, don't put in a lot of keywords. 5 keywords are more than enough. Do 1 or 2 stories at 5 keywords. Example, put in spiritual development, romantic comedy. It will absolutely spit you out a spiritual development story, romantic comedy.
I just read Jason's comment.
Shamanism, thriller, drama. That's more than enough for it to figure it out.
Yeah, what a shitty way to go. Correct, Jason.
Yes, what a shitty way to go.
Do you think the AI could make a story of a light worker changing into a?
I did it already. Did it. Got it.
You've done it.
Mount Shasta transformation story. Yes.
Yeah, you need to stop. You need to take a break.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
7 session a day as well. I just got a lot.
Did you have
the next rollout after this trading webinar is going to be a content writer, and what the content writer is going to be an AI assisted tool that will make you sound intelligent, because it'll do the research for you.
Yep.
And write out stuff for you no matter what the topic is. So there are a lot of you out there who have a lot of stuff in your head, a lot of information in your head, but when it comes to writing it down, because we've seen your websites, a lot of you. Yeah. So this AI will produce copy based on what you put in, and it will generate essay-like white paper type version stuff on any topic, because the problem is that people don't see the spiritual community in a kind of, they don't write anymore. People don't read, they don't write. So, and even if you don't read and you don't write, the AI will write stuff for you that you can do it on a podcast and just read it out on a teleprompter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the next rollout that we're doing.
So I want to bring up one more thing about genres.
Mm-hmm.
The Hollywood writer's strike is still going on and nowhere near an end right now. And for anybody who knows anything about how production works, they have cut the production because this strike has gone on for so long that for the next 3 years you're going to get hardly any content out of Hollywood. They're going to go to Korea and strip mine Korea, Spain, and Germany for shittily created stuff to put out over the next 3 years. And they're going to go into the annals of all the different movies that never made it out for whatever reason. And they're going to try to put those out and miserably fail at them because most of them are still woke. Woke actually began in 2012. And remember, Hollywood is a 3-year delay for production. That means in the next 3 years, we are on the ground floor where nothing special is going to come out of Hollywood. And with these creator tools that we have here, we can absolutely fill in the blanks. And then when the next webinar comes out that integrates the graphics aspect to the stories, those people who have mastered the AI and the writing part will get special access to that. Because there's the next leveling where you can create fully augmented ebooks with graphics and sound and music.
Yep. And about that, we had a discussion about voice and spell work.
Yes.
Finding your voice. You want me to start this or you want Dale to start this? What does having a voice mean to you, Laura?
One of my special teachings is about finding your voice two-legged, the human that's inside you, and the journey to get out of meekness, to no longer be in a state of copying others' power versus having your own power.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people copy other people's power and never discover their own in their own voice.
And that's your emulation and emanation teachings,
right.
isn't it?
And that's why we have you record your own revocations in your own voice, and then go to a meditative state and listen to it and be a part of your own spiritual journey of discernment of your own power.
And get to love your own voice. And let you hear your soul talking to you, or let your soul hear you talking to you.
Yeah, that's such a vital
voice mean to you.
Say that again, David.
Joel, not Joel. My mind is so scattered. Dale, what does voice mean to you?
I'd say voice means standing up for your power of who you are, taking that leap of faith to actually be courageous, be authentic, and like Andrew says, not follow other people, but allow your true authentic self to flow through you, not allow the programs to take you out of the body. Find your own inner voice by creating your own prayer, not allowing yourself to I'd say go into like a lazy state. For me, when I started to say prayer, I can just do it in a flow. It's about everyone finding their own flow for me. And when I started finding that flow, I could just pray about anything really, something what was going on in my life, something what I needed in my life. It's just about being self-empowered, and it's hard because a lot of people start being themselves, but they have some issues for themselves which come up like programs or trauma, which stops them. And this is the journey here, is being able to go back and start working on the past and so on. So being yourself means speaking up for yourself, figuring out if you're in a relationship where you're controlled or someone makes the decisions for you. All of that is stuff you've got to deal with in order to be yourself. And I've gone through that experience myself with relationships where I've realized they've held me back as a person because I've not been allowed to be who I am. So I've had to come out of the relationship to stand up to who I am. And even though it was the hardest thing in the world, it's the greatest lesson and the greatest ancestral wisdom, which is coming to me in many layers now, of how free I feel from actually making the courageous choice to stand up for who I am. And just to know that everyone here is on the same level. There's not one person who's higher or lower. We're all on the same page here. We're not in competition with each other. Even though we have shows of many different businesses combining together, we all help each other out. And there's an infinite amount of people out there for work and business and money and so on. So that's my take on it, really.
Dale, that dog really loves you. I understand everything now. I understand everything. Amy, what does voice mean to you?
Ooh, goodness gracious. I don't know if I think I found it just a little bit ago.
What the hell?
Okay, so for me, I think I've had so many voices that I never found the unique voice that is me. And I'm now finding that unique voice that is me, if that makes sense. That's basically what it feels like to me. Because of I felt like I had so many different voices with friends, with the family, at work, wherever. I had all these different voices, but that really wasn't Amy. No. So I'm finally finding my unique voice. And it's great because it just feels like I don't even know how to explain it. It just feels like whole.
For me, Amy, watching you do Southern Belle Amy was the jump off point to discovering the signature frequency match for your own uniqueness.
Oh my God.
When I watched that in you, I'm like, yeah, there she goes.
Yes, well, I reckon I like that. Yeah, she's just gonna come on out.
Hey, gosh.
So authentic. Okay. Honestly, guys, the reason why a voice is important for those of you who are going to be doing creative stuff with the tools that we're giving y'all, the reason why voice is important is because if you don't have a voice, you could forget about magic to a certain level. You got to speak it out. You got to speak that stuff out. I know the reason why this came up is there are a lot of people who go on the internet and they research like spells or incantation or affirmations and stuff, right? Even revocations. And they're like just reading it out like, oh, in my ever-present moment of now, right? They don't feel. They don't feel. Okay. If you ask me, saying anything that requires you to manifest anything requires circuitry to be connected inside your body and your mind, right? In alignment. So if your voice, you're not feeling your own voice, then trust me, nothing around you is feeling it either. Okay? Nothing is feeling it either. Right? The universe is not hearing you. You might as well be talking through a funnel, right? So for those of you who are going to be writing your stories, if you're not putting this, that into your stories, for those of you who are going to be making your music, you got to put everything. You got to spell cast your content. You got to spell cast your content. And for those of you who are just married, or going to be married or whatever else, the way you speak to people is very important. That's a kind of spelling in and of itself, right? So if you want somebody to cut the grass, you gotta energetically allow yourself to speak that out so that it is felt rather than just heard. Does that make any sense? Or did I just go all?
That does.
Yeah, and voice is an energy, isn't it? And one thing I noticed is the more you do the inner work and the more you get rid of programs, the more soul you're allowing in your body and your voice changes. So if I just look at myself a year ago to how I am now, and also Andrew taught me that, I don't know whether it just applies to me, Andrew, but you said at one time I would speak in a more nasally way, but I developed a deeper resonance as I went on my journey, as I grew.
That nasally you was speaking through your nose versus fully speaking through your mouth.
Yeah.
Which took away from the power of your voice and didn't allow the inside of full resonation of your words and the quality of what you were trying to impart to others.
Yeah, and that comes from a depth, like you were saying, David. It comes from a feeling, or as Dale was saying, a feeling of sovereignty that you have within you. And it's also from a feeling of groundedness that you get that sort of resonance. And that's really important. Like you're saying, David, when you're delivering a question, like, can you cut the grass?
Yeah, can you cut the grass
Honey.
without the voice?
Honey.
Honey, yeah.
That doesn't help, even if you say sweetie pie.
No.
Right. So I without getting into the weeds of that, Dale, that dog and the little hearts that are floating up to the ceiling, my man, what the hell? That dog really loves you. What's going on? Right? Anyway, you guys see all the little hearts floating up to the ceiling, like relief.
I told him earlier, just let that dog be in every scene from now on.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's going to be Dale and Meg, Symmetry of Health.
Yes.
Wow. Anyway. Honestly, I think a lot of people take their voice as an arbitrary thing. I think they try to sound like other people, right? Let me give you guys a little bit of technomancy. You remember, when you watch CNN and MSNBC and so on? All right. So for those of you who have any kind of sound tech experience, the reason why people, the output from the newscast, whether it be CNN, MSNBC, Fox, or whatever else, the person who is the moderator is speaking and actually interrupting your thought pattern. Do you know that? Have you ever tried to concentrate on doing something else while the news is playing in the background? Do you find that your thoughts get interrupted?
Interesting.
Right. That's an equalizer setting. Yep, that's an equalizer setting.
Yeah. I remember, was it? I think Fox News is probably the worst one for it. It's like you're just like your head starts hurting as soon as you start hearing it. You're like, ah, shit.
Well, they all
Turn
sound
it
the
off.
same. They all sound the same too.
Yeah.
Their voices all. What
It's a formula, Amy. It's just
Yeah.
a formula.
are they? Voice
For
coaches?
interrupt.
What about voice coaches? Voice coaches for people.
The thing about it is that when you want people to listen to you, and I'm just going to just throw out random trivia facts here. When you want people to listen to you, you have to understand the frequency that they are going to be listening on. When you look at a television screen for any extended period of time, past 10 minutes, your mind goes into a lull state. Okay?
Yeah.
And so people voice train people to enunciate stuff. Pretty much the way you teach people how to do spell work. So as an example, if you ask somebody a question, it has to be as a certain resonance to make that interrupt so that people understand and it doesn't just, they don't just hear you. It has to interrupt the brain pattern. Does that make any sense, guys? Because you'll have experienced it.
And that's the same thing as people who sing too, right? There's a certain thing that happens when you listen. Yeah.
An opera singer understands there's something called octaves, okay, when you're talking about singing. So the best opera singers, there are 8 octaves. The best opera singers probably get up to level 7 octave. But at level 7 octave, it's enough to break a glass if they sing at the glass. You've seen these things on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Go research opera singer breaks glass, okay, with the voice. Because the resonant frequency of the voice can break the glass when it's away from the opera singer. So a voice like that is definitely powerful.
So, quick, David, can you put some of the science behind how a voice can create that resonance within the throat and the lungs? And some of the science that's actually behind it? Because I believe some of that science will help people in the intuitive end of how your voice can penetrate other realms too.
Okay, so we can approach this from 2 different ways. The reason why you have a voice is for the expressiveness, but your voice is a key. Every person's voice is a key. It's a codex. It is your codex. Okay? And if you see it as just something that God put there so I can communicate with other people, then you would be selling yourself short. God put that voice inside of you so that you can actually create vibrational frequency. And it's the vibrational frequency that makes you go through different realms. Let me give you the science. Everything in the world that you know of right now, that you are, the desk, everything is resonating at a particular frequency. There is no desk here. That's a bunch of atoms. Does that make any sense? Everybody went, who failed physics class? Because if you fail physics class, this is going to be, the next couple of minutes is going to be very, very hard on you. Everything is a resonant frequency. You think you're looking at Dale and Laura and Amy and Andrew. No, you're looking at a bunch of atoms resonating together at a particular frequency. They are made up of a frequency. So you're seeing frequencies, so to speak. Your voice is a codex frequency that can unlock at different levels different frequencies. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So kind of like when you meditate, you think that, oh, I'm just transcending, I'm going under, like hypnosis, I'm going under. You're not actually going under. You are resonating differently. Your thoughts are being resonated at different levels. So you are experiencing different levels of reality. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You want to create a spell. You're out in the forest, I guess. You're set your bonfire and stuff like that. And you want to speak truth to the universe. You want to unlock universal principles. So you're in a circle with your friends. You call yourself magicians and you are about to make the chant. Okay? And all of y'all are speaking like y'all in church. Really? No. Okay, every part of your cellular anatomy is supposed to be resonating with your voice to create the effect that you want to create. So everybody does spellcraft, but do they do it effectively? You can't just Google something on the internet, say it, and hope that everything will go well for you. It won't go well for you. It
Just
won't.
like a YouTube PhD is not enough to get out of fake it to make it.
Get yourself into a coven, get yourself into some course or something that will teach you how to use your voice in a resonant way. Okay?
And it's
I'm
like
a
allowing,
hypnotherapist. Go ahead, Dale.
like allowing that resonant frequency to actually flow at the same throat. And a lot of people sing where they're just singing from the mouth or they're singing from the throat. There's such difference when you're allowing the heart and the throat to be connected. And you see it with like Pop Idol or something like that. People who come and sing and they sang the same song over and over again. And it doesn't have that frequency to it because they're not singing from the heart. It's just kind of like repeating stuff. If you get what I'm saying.
The best thing to do.
And also, can I ask, so if it's coming from every cell, does that mean DNA is involved?
DNA is definitely involved because we're talking about keys, and DNA is a lock. That's what it is. DNA is a lock, right? But it also can be a key. But you have to unlock DNA for you to do anything with it. Absolutely, you have to unlock it for you to do anything with. A lot of people have this potential inside of them, and there's some people that are living life, and I've said this before, at 20%, 30%. Most people live life at 20%. And so when it is that you unlock the voice, you're not only, the voice is made up of the voice box, obviously, but you need the respiratory system. The respiratory system is plugged into the circulatory system. The circulatory system is plugged into the nervous system as well. When you want to create a spell, if all those systems are not working together to say your truth into the universe, to say your desire into the universe, it's kind of like you want to hit a fruit on a tree, okay? You take the stone with your little hand and you throw it up and you hope that it'll get a slingshot instead, okay? Right? Pull those words from the earth underneath your feet through your body, activating all 8 of your systems, digestive included, and say that thing out into the world and into the space. Okay, it's different. Now, you may not want to do that to your kid, however, right? That would be not ethical, right? But you want to do it when it is that you're practicing ceremony, and spellcrafting is absolutely important. Actually, spelling generally is important.
I want to step in here a second and talk about how words are so important. So many people that have been introduced to my material find me combining words they've never seen before, like spiritual hygiene, okay, unentangled observer, all words that require basic context of unseen reality versus quantum physics. I commonly put words together that don't put together. You also have to enter into that state where you're putting together words that change your internal beliefs too. So as a suggestion for anyone, get a dictionary or get an app on your phone that's a really good dictionary, and every day pick a new word and figure out how to work it into your standard day. Now that challenge has been around since every high school since the mid-1950s. Pick a word a day and add it to your vocabulary. It absolutely makes a difference when you take that on as a fun challenge. Is after a while you have more words to describe something that only is in your mind but can't come out your tongue until you have a word that fits. Okay? And the next thing is learning to have a powerful voice also means confidence and the execution of willpower. Confidence and willpower are not mystical. Mysticality can influence them at times, but they're choices. So is commitment, courage, and discipline a choice. When you decided to be committed and courageous with your voice, very little can stop you. And that passion you put behind your voice, that's another way of getting that commitment, that desire to commune with the person or yourself. Okay? Learning those passionate journeys. before I talked about Amy having a breakthrough point that I could see, which is the Southern Belle. And the same thing over the years that I've worked with Laura, I've seen her progressively strengthen and strengthen and strengthen and strengthen her voice until the whole new Laura emerged, and the next one and the next one to the woman she is today. 1 year ago today, we were doing our first shows. Okay. We were reflecting back, I would throw them to the wolves with no preamble of anything. But I told them from the beginning, if you master that, there's not anything you can't do with confidence. Okay? Now, one last thing about resonation. How do you know your voice resonates with others? You first have to learn self-resonation. That's why contract revocations, spell work, whatever it is, has to have practice behind it before you actually go and do it. Okay? A lot of people think, okay, I got a spell, I got a revocation, I'm going to do it once, and I don't need to do it again. Bullshit. You need to practice it and practice and practice it. Dale, Amy, Laura, tell us about what practicing really does before you perform it.
Well, it gives you, I'd say, repetition with illumination, where you constantly enforcing your boundaries all the time until it's not just a meek, I'm forcing my boundaries, but it's a standing wave throughout time where you're reinforcing it, and it just becomes more potent and powerful the more you do it. And that's the thing with the revocations. A lot of people do it just once or twice, but they're not there to be done once or twice. They're there to be used as your ongoing process of your journey throughout the year. It's like a continuation of revoking divine feminine, divine masculine, having the shaman's death. All of those are standing throughout the year and things you should be doing, going back to with different voices, recording it, doing it by the fire. So yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, I have a YouTube short that probably is a good an idea to show people why it's important to develop yourself internally. Just watch this YouTube short. Now, what this lady just used is a resonant frequency. It's a shaking frequency, and it's a frequency that steps up and resonates and vibrates the glass so that it breaks. You guys get the idea?
Yeah.
Imagine having a voice like that.
People actually get that same feeling when you and I talk powerful words. We actually say, my body is shaking. Oh my God, my whole body is. Laura, I know you guys have all experienced, as is many people in the shows. But instead of the glass, we're targeting the DNA to go into that vibratory mode and accept that vibration as motion.
And that's the resonant frequency match you used to talk about, and how people come to you because they are resonant frequency match to you, to what you're saying.
And the voice and
there's that beauty of it.
Go ahead, Dale.
There's that beauty of it I've seen in session, guys, where they're kind of like, they don't allow you in, but once you start speaking a truth to them, it's like a wave starts coming into them, and they're like, afterwards, let's have that holy shit moment, like, oh shit, yeah, there's that resonant frequency. Actually, they're accepting it now. There's that beauty of when you start going into that form of truth. It's beautiful.
It's finding their knowingness, isn't it? It's a resonance that finds their inner wisdom, their inner knowingness.
Yeah, I have to say about when I first found Andrew, the shaman's death is my favorite, one, right? But it was difficult for me to read. First of all, I think people can find that when you first start reading your revocations, like, what, this doesn't make sense. But you keep the practice, you keep doing the 30-day practice, and at the end, it's like, now the shaman's death feels like my resonance. Does that make sense? Like, it felt like I'm just repeating Andrew's words, but then now it feels like my own, and even putting my own words in it or using it in another part of my revocations that I write. Like that just, I don't know, that just feels like that's important.
And that is the authenticity of Andrew's teachings, and that's why we say no to gurus who try and actually get you just to follow their own shit. Andrew's teachings are all about yourself and elevating yourself. He doesn't want you to be him or copy his shit. He just wants you to be yourself. And that's the beauty of why we're all here today.
Yeah.
And his words is the words that Andrew chooses are vital to his teachings.
Yeah.
And I remember right back at mentorship, we started off with word salad, I think, Andrew. Do you remember? And you had us all on mentorship put in different phrases. And you actually wove a teaching from all the phrases that we came up with. And now, after all this time, that is something I can do. Because the type of words you're using, it's the frequency behind the words. And I remember reading,
Not
that,
intent. Intent is baby steps. Frequency is the PhD expression of it.
yeah. And you asked me at one time whether I could energetically describe something you'd written, because I said it came off the page for me. And I think I described it to you as being letters of gold coming up in layers. And that's actually seeing the actual, my version of the energy, how I read the energy of those words. And that's why those words are so potent that Andrew teaches. They've got all that learning, that wisdom behind them.
Yeah.
Because it's tapping into an egregore in space, a body of knowledge that is existing out of time and space. And here's the thing about it: we all contribute to that egregore in our own way. Every time an original thought is made, it adds to the egregore. For those of you who are not familiar with that term, an egregore is a body of knowledge that exists out of space and time. It's a body of knowledge that exists out of space and time. So whenever you think an original thought, let's say you're in a particular subject, you're adding to that egregore. It's a library of thoughts, right? Which is why we're going to create it in real time out here. We're going to create a body of knowledge in real time on Earth out here. And that is something that I would like to see happen, because not everybody is going to be able to tap into the egregore. And egregore is like this thing that happens when you're like on a show, you're talking to friends, and all of a sudden downloads start coming, right? You've tapped into something else, right? It's flowing into your head, right? The thoughts are coming out. Laura was just put on the spot. Well, we put everybody on the spot because we're not.
That's what you do.
Laura was put on the spot. We ask her, "You're doing a revocation for anxiety?" Okay, yeah, let's hear it. Right? Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. So that Laura has tapped into an egregore of revocations. It's something that just happens for her. Okay. It's something that just happens for her. So people that are anxious about doing things like public events, speaking and stuff like that, please understand that that's only temporary until your brain resonates with the right frequency from the egregore that you want, and then all of a sudden it comes in. It comes in and it flows. It flows out through your voice. Comes in and this flows out through your voice, because you are the thing that you want to connect with. You are not connecting with the thing. You become the thing that you want to connect with. Is that?
Yeah.
I'm speaking in arcade terms, but I'm not losing anybody here, am I?
No, you're energetically resonant with it.
Yeah.
Correct. You are that thing. Like,
Let me add something. There's a tipping point to become that thing. And a lot of people on the teeter-totter of the tipping point don't get to the center of the fulcrum, or use that fulcrum to tip to their advantage. I call that the placebo belief engine. Okay? A placebo is the idea of some people get a sugar pill, some people get real medicine. Oftentimes it's a sugar pill that actually cures people. We all have an engine of things that we simply accept as placebo belief. Okay? And when you are in your faith-driven journey, your expansion of voice-driven journey, your placebo engine is very much a necessary tool to engage and learn to expand it. So the simplicity of getting to the center of the fulcrum on the teeter-totter and then tip into, I'm not making this shit up. It is real as a co-creation of my faith with the creative spirit within. And it is real to me. And once it becomes truly real to you, it's where baby steps, the intent of baby steps, become PhD adult knowingness steps into your greater creations.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people they have issues breaking into the codex of different bodies of knowledge. Okay, so they prefer to go on the internet. The internet is not an egregore. The internet is too polluted and too corrupt to become an egregore for you. Okay, the egregore exists out of time and space, and so what you want to do is have a yearning to connect with that thing. Right? You have to have a yearning that's to connect with that thing, and then you have to have the ability to relax enough to let that thing become you. Okay? Does that make? But a lot of people don't have the knowingness inside themselves, or the confidence. So I see a lot of people struggling, right? And they don't realize that they're almost there, as Andrew just pointed out. You're almost there because the self-doubt will come in and tell you you are not that thing, until words start coming out of your mouth. On a spur of the moment, you say something and you surprise yourself. Oh shit, that sounded wise. What the hell? Where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
What's happening to me, right? Like you'd be over dinner with friends or family, and all of a sudden some shit comes out of your mouth, and they're like, "You were the town drunk before. How the hell did you just say that?" Right? Everybody has a stop moment. Is like, yeah, apparently you are becoming that thing. You are becoming that thing, and the problem that a lot of people have is when they get surprised that something happens, they think, "Oh, I must have heard it somewhere before." Yeah, you did. You did in the egregore. You did when you were sleeping, when you were dreaming, right? You did when you were daydreaming. All of that stuff came in underneath the radar, and it's sitting inside of you, waiting for you to connect the internet, that dial-up back in the days, right?
Yeah.
You have to use the dial-up before you get the ADSL, man. You gotta use the dial-up before you get the ADSL. We all had dial-up days.
Can I just
You
ask
remember those
Andrew?
dial-up days, right, Laura?
So I was just going to ask Andrew if that would be similar to the hub of interconnectivity. So you're connecting to past, present, future.
The journey
The
to
everything of the all.
The journey of the hub of interconnectivity is not for a brand new person. First thing first. Though at times you will connect to it because it's an instinctual part of your DNA. But the journey to the hub of interconnectivity is recognizing the many victories long before you ever already get there. The aspect of yourself that's a sovereign in the North Pole and the South Pole that is not a shard of you. It's an equal co-creation of you, filtering information from the ancestors of the past and filtering information of ancestors of the future that's relative to your linear evolving timeline. At that point, you elevate yourself as a celestial medium of peace, a terminology that has the peacekeeper and peacemaker in it, that masters the dream world, the duality accepting the singularity, and the singularity accepting the duality as equal and not a prison. And once you achieve that state, it's equal, not a prison, and the peacekeeper and peacemaker advances you into celestial medium of peace. The hub of interconnectivity is the next stage of development so that your personal past, 10,000 past and 10,000 future generations are not manipulated by an influential system not adhered to linear time while we are adhered to linear time. We then can create a unique frequency of resonation that is both time and no time. And what that means is become a standing wave in time that cannot be erased by varieties of forgetfulness. That's why the Mandela effect revocation is such a powerful tool for people out there on the journey to remembering. Before there is an awakening and an ascension, we must remember our power. We must learn to use that power from remembering. Then the awakening begins for those that have remembered their journey, that your level of awareness is equal to your responsibility, and your level of responsibility is equal to your awareness, so that you do not overwhelm yourself with information and things that do not belong in your reality until the moment that you need them.
Yeah. Measured downloads.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear like a revocation or what?
Sure.
All right, we have a mystery revocation happening.
Shaman's death. I call to my sacred medicine spread, which aids me in understanding my infinite spirit. The healer's tools have been laid out in ceremonial fashion. I call to the 4 elements and bring their essence into my sacred healing space in equal co-creation with all sentient kind. I call to the ancestors of this medicine reading to bring communal balance with the words being manifested in the now. I call to the dreamers of the southern skies, our mediums to the innocence of our 7 future generations. In this shamanic moment of no time now, I co-create this communal reading for all sentient kind living on earth now. The shaman's death is the lesson of the now. It speaks of life, death, and rebirth as a cyclical process of understanding who we were and who we are now. With every death, there is a rebirth of the self. Some cyclical form shedding of the old self requires us to look at our habit patterns of life. Many patterns lead us out of balance with our needs. Often we confuse our needs with our desires. This is the nature of the shaman's death. To see how habitual patterns create shells, we must learn to discard in this ever-evolving dance of spirit life, balanced with real life. At times, we take back old shells we discarded long ago, just to feel safe and secure. This is the other teaching of the shaman's death. With the new requires new creation, so the body is involved with the whole process of self-evolution. The body is what houses the skills and all habit patterns used to function with a holographic reality blending into our dreaming experience of belief. The temporal people of the now are the only ones who have this experience of shedding and creating cyclical with Mother Nature. We, the people of the now, have forgotten the detailed ways of our ancestors. So many of us have been brought up on the bosom of mass media. They don't know the truth of our bare feet touching the ground without the chatter of world entertainment in the earshot. The songs of the birds in the jungles, the chorus of crickets or flocks of geese speaking their sacred words as they head in seasonal directions. How do we teach our peoples who let go of the tit that milks their knowingness from the very breath they breathe? We do this by creating a legacy of truth that our 7 future generation ancestors can touch, feel, and know is future now real. To follow the sacred path of living the shaman's death daily is the greatest discipline one can teach themselves during these times of generational change. Look deep into the way you live your life. What can you do to make sacred something in your own belief system? What can you do each day to let go of fear, envy, and jealousy, or the 3 nags of shame, blame, and guilt? See how we torture ourselves with perceived debt created by others? See how you can come to a cyclical process of letting go with the best of intentions, so all that comes back to you is perfect synchronicities with great mystery. I call to Great Spirit who lives within great mystery, you who is the source of sources. I call to you in this sacred moment of infinite reflection of who I am and what I am doing in this temporal now. I call to you wisdom so I may see the humbleness of my position within my own soul family interactions, so I may nurture all my past and future generations with the wisdom of living in the now. The red coral of the great oceans of Earth Mother have been held sacred by the indigenous peoples of all Earth realms since the dawn of conceptual time. Red coral has been used to gauge all forms of time through the process of long-term nurturing and the lessons learned through allowing time to not affect the nature of our nourishing expression. To nurture oneself is the greatest gift we can return to Earth Mother at this moment in time. By allowing healing to be a process and not an event, we become the greatest wisdom of why red coral is the Earth Mother's blood teacher. Red coral is of Earth blood. It is the link to her sacred heartbeat we all hear deep inside womb time, long before we go through the forgetting of the birth canal. Red coral reminds us of the infinite nurturing in the placenta of the mother's womb. It also teaches us when we leave the womb to experience. At birth, a new sacred placenta of void energy encompasses us in our life walk. This new placenta is what we make sacred through the learning of what is in our DNA, our very blood that procreates our version of life in this world. Red coral comes from the great water nurseries of life, the place the whales, dolphins, and tunas go to spawn the 7 future generations of Earth life. We all shared red blood on planet Earth. It is the gift she gives us, so union and communion can exist at all levels of creating within Earth realm. Red coral of Earth's water nurseries represent the very essence of nurturing womb time. We, the generations of the now time, bear the responsibility of acting in the now. The ancestors of the past gave us our traditions, cultures, and esoteric practices for us to learn. For the future to exist in the now, we must learn how to live in balance with the ancestors of the lands we live on, be it concrete jungle, urban sprawl, or ancient forests. We are the ones who act in the now. For the future to exist, we must nurture it with the passion spark. Each person will have an individual journey back into the natural way of life. Our former experience will color our future experience and continue to co-create until we make a clear separation of conscious application of the sacred art of our daily life walk. We all have earned the rites of passage through living on Earth. At this moment, suspended in no time, I choose to engage my natural rights as a sovereign being born on Earth, Mother, through the natural way of the womb of a sacred feminine. I recalibrate all of my soul frequency to the natural way. By making the very choice, you have earned the rites of passage into the next level of knowingness and wisdom link with the infinite soul. Each being on Earth seeks their own way to connect to the infinite being they are. The process always comes to an understanding of scale and size in which our other self works at. We walk the rites of passage and we finish the old. We do not fall back into the old ways, self-deception and self-perversion of sacred living. By accomplishing the rites of passage means you must upkeep your continuous co-creation with Earth Mother's realms. It is your sovereign duty. We do this by our elemental connection to all that is. The four-legged, the winged ones, the scaled and soft-shelled, the birds, bees, ducks, and dinosaurs all have a place in Great Mysteries plan.
There are so many powerful teachings embedded into that one piece. I remember the day I wrote it.
Yeah.
Chaos was everywhere, and I mean chaos was everywhere. And I put my middle finger up to chaos, and I said, fuck off. And I sat down, and I crafted that piece saying, I will not let chaos affect me, and this is my legacy piece.
Yeah.
And it's when I accepted my legacy of the power that was within. And since then, many documents have flown since then. Since then.
It's my favorite.
Beautifully read, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't
Yeah.
tell me, tell her. That's her voice. That's
Yeah,
her
but she
voice.
understands. The thing is, she
Yeah.
understands the words.
Yeah.
It comes across. You understand the nature of what's acting, being here now.
Yeah. I know. It makes me cry every time.
Me too. I'm crying as
I
I'm
know.
hearing it. Yeah.
I know. And it's like I had to find, I had to retype it in a way where I could read it with my cadence. You know, where I had my pauses where I needed them for my own self. And after I was done, I was like, whoa. Yeah, that felt like this was for me, you know?
Isn't it amazing how that can affect different people? Because your background, his background,
Yeah.
notice that I use the pronoun his, right? Your background, his background, my background, Laura's background, Dale's background, completely. We couldn't meet. This is like the UN of spirituality. You could meet people who are just completely different from each other. Okay? But it affects us differently, but the same way at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where the connectivity aspect comes from, I think. Honestly, that was some very good work, Amy. Very
Thank
good.
you. And you know what? It only took me one time because that's how much I love that and how much I've read it, that it's here, like it's in my heart. And it just poured out into my voice. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That dog, the hearts. Yeah, let's talk about it. Like, what the hell?
Why is the name Meg? Can I ask?
So basically, I had a dog when I was younger, and I remember moving house, and I remember I was quite upset moving the house, and there was one dog called Meg, who was like my favourite dog growing up, and she used to do everything with me, follow me around, and used to do the funniest stuff. And as soon as I moved to that house, she died, like in the space of 2 weeks. She went to the vets, and she didn't see her again after she left for the vets. She couldn't get in the car. She ended up having like a cancer, and they had to put her to sleep. And I remember saying, when I get older, I'm going to have a dog in memory of her called Meg.
Oh,
And there she is.
there she is. What type of
Because she
dog
was
is it?
the main dog I remember the most out of my childhood, and the one I bonded with. I bonded with all of them, but she was a very special, unique relationship I had with Meg. So here she is, and I couldn't be happier, really.
Yeah.
She's English cocker. Is she cocker spaniel? Isn't she English cocker?
Is she?
Yes, she is.
She,
Oh.
So she's very like hunting orientated, sniffing and like looking around. But they're very good to train. These dogs are really, really good to train. They're very smart as well. And she's really well behaved, to be honest. She loves chewing shit. She's only 5 months old. But yeah, bless her.
Oh.
So, David, here's a challenge for you. Inside the show producers group is the next shaman's death.
I'm already downloading it. I'm already working on it while you're talking.
No. You're going to read it this time with your powerful voice and your projection and resonance, with the goal of making people hear those words and feel their DNA resonate. You have such a unique voice, and everyone on this does. But your unique voice, reading material like this, has a whole different way of shaking the rust off of the stagnant DNA.
Yes, David. A challenge.
I remember when we used to do hypnotherapy online. You remember those good old days? When we had audience members. It was the voice that makes a difference. So developing your voice will put your kid to sleep. Will also wake your kid up, and you can create a voice that gains compliance, right? Like, fix my damn patio. All right.
That was Amy's. I remember that one. That was Amy's.
I remember that one.
Fix my damn
I
patio.
remember that one.
right?
Oh,
It
God.
is
Oh,
important
God.
to develop your voice and the tonology of your voice. That we can't stress this enough, right? Your voice is magic. Your voice is magic. I listened to Dale's voice when I was making a commercial for him. So I'm like, oh no, 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 we're doing something with this. All right. So you're going through stuff. I didn't come in your direction, but now that you have your dog back, now that you have your familiar back, right? The reincarnated Meg, because that's what that is, right? The reincarnated Meg. Now that you have the reincarnated Meg back, I can see happiness and power coming out of this man. Like, but you really, that's a relief, isn't it?
Yes, a big victory. One of the major victories lately, and I had a very unique experience. And Andrew kind of like connected the experience to it. That my father, who passed away, had a visitation from him as I was doing it on the last day when I got back, and there was just like a moment of like 3 minutes of this full ancestral love just flowing through me. It was literally like this energy just started going in me, and it felt like a rainbow energy. All of a sudden I just started crying, but I could feel him, and he was saying, all what I'm going through now, there's so much ancestral wisdom to be gained from this. And it's about seeing that ancestral wisdom, and this is all meant to be happening right now in order for my highest level of growth. And I can see it, even though it's been hard. I'm going through a divorce for everyone out there. So it's been one of those, but at the end of it, my faith has got me here, continued on to shows. Shows have helped me, my work's helped me, and it's a continue on. The journey continues, and I'm going to be a stronger and stronger person each time. I'm not going to go backwards, I'm going forwards. And this here, Meg here today, and having her back, it means the world to me, because I had to fight and stand up for who I am. And when something's wrong, I had to, like you guys are saying, my voice has to be heard. So yeah.
Beautiful.
We hearing it, brother. We are hearing it.
We want to hear
Thank
yours,
you.
David.
Yes.
We want to hear yours. He's trying to avoid it. He's avoiding it,
Yes,
guys.
he is, isn't he? Yes.
He is.
What are we talking about?
The
I
shaman's
was going to
death.
make a product out of that thing. I was going to make a production out of that thing.
You can still do it.
Yeah.
You
Just
can
doing
speak
it
it
now.
loud.
You're
We
not
like to
getting,
hear.
you're not getting
I'm trying
these
to
one
download
like
it
this.
right now.
We
Come
like live concerts.
Put on
Yeah.
that full power David voice
Yeah.
and ram them with
Your challenge
frequency.
is accepted. I'll do it.
Okay,
I mean
thank
it.
you.
Ram
How long
them
is
with
it, though?
frequency.
I don't know how long. 15 minutes. We got time.
We have plenty
Remember,
of time.
there's no
This
time.
this one's short. This one is short.
Oh, that's really short.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
Yep.
The next shaman's death. To live in a generation of the now, one must take the time to observe their surroundings, seen and unseen. The shaman's path has many valleys, gorges, and mountains that seem impossible at the moment. Though, when looking back with hindsight, they were just expressions of the self-defeating inner programs to not succeed on the path to the unlimited point of view. Each person will come to the shaman's path in a different way. Each being has their own unique blueprint into becoming maintained and being a shaman on the path that is defined by the compassion and with the internal being we are. The shaman is willing to look at his family, friends, and surroundings and chart a course of ancestral balance of the energy seen and unseen. The shaman's path is fraught with expressions of former selves who hold illusory power over a future version of you. It is the shaman's duty to heal thyself. Know all versions of thyself by the signature frequency of the message, situation, or potentials created. It is the shaman's duty to neutralize the external and internalize the infinite being on a journey of light, transforming light. The shaman is willing to use the a la carte method of belief so they're not trapped in one modality of thinking, existing, and creating. The shaman does pilgrimage to sacred places in the seen and the unseen world. The shaman's path has a moment where we must confront our former selves who do not want to go any further with our mystical success. A blissfully mythical path of the joy of prayer. Each and every person will learn their own way of coming to terms of surrender to the great mystery. The shaman's path has ever present moments of eternal knowledge of the internal infinite source being we are. The shaman is a being of all colors, expressing their form of sacred neutrality in both day and night. Each day we experience light, we come to a transition to dusk and then night. When night is fully in bloom, the mystical side of night reveals itself to those taking the time to observe the nightly life of the seen and unseen. For countless generations, people have explored that light, challenged their minds, and not to create fear. Each and every one of you had to learn to sleep at night, had to learn to understand day or night. Night also means in the weaning hours we sleep and then dream. Oftentimes, we wake up during dreams and have moments of lucidity that amazes us. Flying, swimming, talking, eating, gatherings, all things solid, real for the observer. The night work is to help you build the constructs of your mind that go into the heart, then the dreaming body as we ascend into our sleep state. This is a way we bring our densities agenda forth into our dream world. So a form of dreaming synopsis can be formed with the construct as the medium of perception. So now is the time to act in the heart mind, protected I am presence framework, and begin the self work, the great self work of self education, of sacred living, self education, of spiritual hygiene, and the self education of the sacred discipline. Actualize each day with a joyous heart, not at work, be doing the process. Okay? Learning from it and chronicling it for the later viewer to see the growth within the micro moments of footsteps of life. The choice is easy. The endurance of change that will determine your commitment to the sacred discipline of accepting and giving in equal co-creation, non-competition, non-hierarchical order. In no time, it takes a choice of dream space to create a direct in no time, it takes a choice of dream space to create a direct manifestation you can remember as dream space, real as you awaken from the slumber of domination and control. You build your endurance and strength each breath you take, each sovereign sleep you have, each moment being a match for your communion and union consciousness from within. Emanate this, learn and relearn, not to emulate. Once you understand emanation of the message of power, of your power, position, and understanding of duality, will reveal the next layer of sovereign choice to expand yourself in equal co-creation with organic, natural co-creative evolution with your heart and great mystery, universal heart. The winds of perception change course as the human and spirit nation kind come in one closer. Let me read that again. The winds of perception change course as human and spirit nation kind come one step closer to understanding the ever-present co-creative moment of moment living. This natural way of life exists for all sentient kind, living and coexisting on all of Earth Mother's realms. The heart of the horse is the fabric of the dreamscape we all live in. It is the horse who spread the fabric of reality, spiderwove, so we could dream the ever-present co-creative dream linked to all other realities on all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universe. This was Earth Children's mission, to be the unvanquished dream of free co-creation. Now, in this moment, I continue on forth on the blazing trail. I now see those on this path have assembled like perfect sections of great mysteries puzzle. Correct. I am the living shaman, knowing I must go through regular life reviews so I may let go that which does not want to go forth on the sacred path of living. I demand separation of natural incarnation and forced reincarnation interwoven lifetimes, so I may see from both perspectives who I was, and what I was born into unwillingly, willingly, known or unknown. In my search for the truth, I see all sides of the quantum entanglement equation. This I am presence declares sovereign boundaries, so we may hold sacred space within each of ourselves without worry of invasion from any source, not in alignment with global dream time and unity consciousness for all sentient kind existing and coexisting on all Earth Mother's realms. I now state with all ancestors present, I am ready to evoke my natural rights as a universal citizen, born to Earth Mother's specific signature frequency. It's time we stop battling the worms and reach for the sky like fresh budding plants just emerging from the soul of life. Are you ready to be the shaman on the path? If so, see you in dreamtime, brothers and sisters, on the path to sacred living. Oh my God, Andrew.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
Beautiful,
going to
David.
be playing with that.
There's
I
another
am
one.
going to be playing with that.
One that I wrote during a time of chaos.
Yes, these times of chaos bring out the best in us.
Yep.
I want you guys to hear what this man has said, because I have been around Andrew and I've been around Laura. I've been the recent people that I've not been around is Dale and Amy for a while now, and I can tell you that in the darkest times, and Andrew, we've seen some dark times, like
Yep.
dark like people will not believe. We've seen some dark times, and every time we come out the end of it, we get stronger.
Mhm.
Right? Which is why I have to thank the people who attacked us earlier on this year. You made us stronger, and you added to my sense of humor, which is a wonderful thing. I love it. Right?
And David, you got people shaking in the chat room. Your voice
Mhm.
penetrated. Okay, legs are
I haven't,
shaking. Yes.
Mhm.
I haven't used this. I haven't used my voice in that way for a while, guys. For those of you who want to express yourself and you haven't expressed yourself, whether in writing, whether in voice, whether in music, and so on, I beseech you, let it out, let it all out. Let it out, shout it to the mountains and make them shake.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let your voice reverberate through the universe. Go to your sacred mountain. Don't you think that Andrew's revocations encourage you to speak them in a certain way, David, when you're reading them? There's something about the frequency of those words that find something in your soul's knowingness,
After the
which
first paragraph,
brings
it
you to
picks it up.
tears.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. It just,
recognition.
yes, yeah, it is. It's an inner knowingness that you've, for me, it's like I've heard those words before. I recognize them. My
Yeah,
heart recognizes them. They really mean something.
honestly, when it is that I started reading a lot of Andrew's work, you see, the thing is, you get caught up with what is outside and what is inside. Okay? And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Anything can be a revocation if it is coming from the right place. You just have to keep writing from the right place. I want to say something to you guys. And I'll put it in a way that people can understand. So they understand what you just said, Andrew. I'm going to typeface it onto people. I want you guys to load the following songs into your mind. ABBA, Chiquitita. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. You guys remember that song?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Evita.
Yes. Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. Y'all remember those songs, right?
Yep.
Now, move them from your mind and upload any R&B song that's talking about anything else. Does it hit you the same place? Does it hit you the same way? Do you recognize it? Is there a reject in your mind? Is there a barrier? When I said Abbas Chiquitita, a smile came inside of you. Like it's like a nostalgia, a knowingness that I can feel. I can feel. This man can feel. This woman can feel. But then if I give you songs that are recently, we have lost something in the music, we have lost something in the storytelling, we have lost something in a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, we have lost something. And I can't stress this enough, and a lot of people don't get that, right? Because when I say Abbas Chiquitita, you immediately, there's a resonance about it. And that's why I like the Revocations. Because people can remember.
So, David, as you were reading this for the first time, what struck you?
The recognition, because and this is why I tripped up on a lot of the sentences, because I'm remembering this stuff.
I saw you remember, yeah.
I'm remembering the stuff, right? I don't know when you wrote this, but as I was remembering the stuff, I was remembering stuff. And this is what's happening inside of you when you read it, especially the section where the universal citizen was put in there. I understand, right, where things are coming from, and a lot of people don't seem to connect.
All of that stuff was written in 2013, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, I think, David, a lot of people unfortunately have heart disconnect, an ancestral disconnection. I mean, it's always there, but they're not seeking it. We're not taught to seek our ancestral connections. We're not taught to seek that natural organic evolution using that.
One of the most powerful techniques that I used when I was a therapist, it wasn't hypnosis. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was just simply holding somebody's hand with no injection apart, just holding somebody's hand. The presence of being there, and not. One of the things that people don't get when they're alone in the world is that, and I say alone in the world because it's a perception, because they're locked into a perception that we're alone. You want to know why people commit suicide? Because they're alone. Okay? They feel the aloneness of nothingness. Okay? What is the point? Right? Having somebody sit down next to you, not saying anything, just holding your hand and letting you know, I'm here, can pull you from the brink. Absolutely. Okay? And if you can feel that, if you're not dense, if you can feel that, and you could express that to another person, then you will understand the power of it, right? But if you don't have any other people, go get yourself a revocation. Read it. And then you realize that, oh, there are a whole bunch of people around me, a whole bunch of memories around me that are actually standing there watching me and weeping for me, weeping with me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get that. Honestly, my pet peeve in this entire life right now is that people cannot feel anymore. They can't feel anymore. They can't feel anymore. And that's one of my pet peeves. You think we created all of this stuff specifically because people are becoming dense. There's a barrier in their hearts that's happening. I don't know why it's happening. I mean, we could throw out a number of things. We could say social media, we could say news and so on. But really and truly, it's a choice. You choose not to feel anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
you were
that's
also taught not to feel as well with the desensitization.
and that's what a lot of the soul surgery, psychic surgery sessions are. Just getting them to feel themselves again, how they can allow themselves to feel who they are again and bring that through. It's giving them that map back to who they are, and that's
For
what
doing
everyone's
this,
searching for.
for doing this for 11 years of in the public as shows. From 2012 to 2013, my first year of being out, a vision of wisdom came to me of how much apathy was going to take over people, how they were going to lose feelings and connections to the heart far more than they had already done from 9/11 to 2012. There was going to be an even greater breaking of humanity's will because nothing happened on 2012. Nothing was ever going to happen on 2012. And there was a great breaking of hope, where hope began to get more and more toxic. So from 2012 to 2013, 2014, all the way to 2015, inside myself, I labeled it the breaking of hope. Hope becomes toxic. And that the documents I created were to be the anti-venom to toxic hope. To the breaking of the dream we could have a future of awakening away from the domination and control as social media went into super overdrive and then censoring started killing the hearts of others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you said at one time, Andrew, after one of the Lionsgates a couple of years ago, that people would wake up and then some people will go back to sleep again, having woken up.
They can't
They
handle it
can't
anymore.
And you know, this
Yeah.
is the thing that kills me, Andrew, because from a metaphysical point of view, forget about the metaphysical. Forget about the metaphysical. Let's look at it from just a psychological point of view, which is apparently an established science. From a psychotherapist's point of view, okay? From a psychotherapist's point of view, this is what happens when you censor somebody, you lock off their voice, okay? That's what happens. Then you lock off the magic within them. If I lock your voice off, there's a reason why kings and queens in the old world used to cut off the tongues of people. It's not because they were afraid. They were afraid. It's not because they were afraid of what they were going to say. It was because they were afraid of what the magic, the directed speech of what was coming out. So there are a bunch of conspiracy theorists who kept shouting, and you can't even call them conspiracy theorists, because I want to show you guys some of the big picture. Stop for a moment. If you're watching this broadcast, stop for a moment. Let's take the 20,000-foot view of everything that has happened in the last decade or so. You have people that have shut down your voice. You have people who have created a situation where people are so dense inside. They're so dense inside. You could see people walking down the street and they're telling you, well, I don't care about this and I don't care about that. You remember when men and women used to be able to speak to each other? You remember when, like, as friends, like as normal people? You remember when you could speak to a woman without having the woman think of you? You're a rapist, first of all, until proven otherwise. You remember those days?
Or you could hold the door open for someone and then not think you're trying to hit on them.
Yes. You remember the days.
Yeah.
You remember those kinds of days. You remember the days when you could just simply speak and be free. You remember the days when I could make like totally inappropriate jokes without having to wonder whether somebody is going to get offended. You remember those days. These
Days without Karens.
Yes.
What year was the
Days without Karens.
What year was the Karen introduced?
2015.
2015 and 2015. All right. An epidemic of crazy people. I remember those days, and people have not realized what is happening. And Klaus, good point in the chat. Something is the soul is taken out of today's music. So now you have toxicity. We are in a serious time, people. We are, because we're talking about the creeping You have gender ideology. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Getting involved and enmeshed and twisting up people so that everybody's either on this side or on that side. I'm not a bigot. I'm not a this phobe or that phobe or whatever the case may be. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But they're making you care. Okay? They're making you care. And I just, and I can't watch TV anymore because I scrolling through Netflix because anytime I see anything trying to indoctrinate me, it's getting shut off. Okay? And I have a radar for that shit. Like I could see indoctrination coming around the corner and down the street. Okay? So anything that is trying to change my mind in any way or make me see something, some political agenda, I'm shutting off. I suggest that you develop that discrimination. I remember when the Ukraine-Russia war clicked off. I turn on the radio just to listen to some music while I'm driving. The announcers are talking about this stuff. I switch that shit off. Okay? It's been Spotify ever since. Okay? Whenever I go on Netflix, I start watching a show. It looks interesting. I mean, it's sci-fi, it's fantasy, it's drama, but then they're trying to show me some kind of way of thinking that is not the way that I can deal with. I'm going to shut that shit off. So you want to know what? I've decided to do something about it. I'm going to let you all write stories, and then I'm going to read it and get myself entertained. Damn it! Because I know and we're going to do something about it. I wish, like, if I had unlimited amounts of money, I'm making my own Hollywood, right? Because I can
Yes.
tell you that there are people inside this community, whether musically talented, artistically talented, some of them have literature backgrounds and so on, who can write us things that will be uplifting and people can connect with and feel once again, as opposed to the dead space that these people are creating inside people.
So I want to add something to that, David. In that journey between 2012 and 2013, where the vision of how bad it was going to come was going to begin, and at 2015 was the halfway mark where there'll be the 10-year journey from nothing happened in 2012 to 2022 lockdown. Okay? That halfway point is where so many people checked out. Whether it was because Facebook censored them, YouTube censored them, the infighting in all the communities, it marked the death of hope of all those who believed something was going to happen. And in fact, nothing happened. And that began the visionary journey of figuring out how to create the teachings to remind you to act in the now. That what you do now is far more important than what you do in the future. And so much about the death of hope and the people holding on to toxic hope still exists in today's world. So many people are still waiting for something to happen. Nothing's going to happen until you make it happen in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
How to impart that to people
I think
and how to live through it.
yes, and I think the nail in the coffin was this experience, this global event that we had in the last. That was the nail in the coffin for a lot of people. It killed a whole
Yeah.
bunch of people inside. There are a lot of crazy people walking around because they've been locked up inside their heads. When that should have been a benefit. That should have been a benefit. When they told you
Yep.
lock yourself up, y'all should have said, "Hallelujah! Now I can create shit." I know,
That's what we
I
did.
listen,
Yeah.
You did.
listen. COVID was the gift that kept on giving. Okay, I was like, yes, yes. I was like, yes. Oh, you're going to lock me up? That's a good thing. I'm like, I'm going to make all sorts of shit. I was like a kid in in my home actually. I was a kid in my home. And on top of that, you tell me that nobody can get within 6 feet of me. Yes, yes.
David, the big thing is when you got out of the cooking of Barbados into the ice cold chill box of where you live now. That's where you went into super creator. Once you weren't being cooked by the heat anymore.
Yes, because I had to do management system in heat. I don't like heat, right? But honestly speaking, this was the time, guys. If this ever happens to you again, where you are locked up and whatever else, I want you guys to think, yes, yes,
Right.
I am being
If another
imprisoned.
lockdown comes, embrace it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, I just think that how do we get people to hear us? Because that's the other thing. Nobody hears anybody anymore, right? Nobody hears
You
anybody.
do it by passing on the legacy every day to be the best you can be.
Yeah.
And I remember in 2012, after my very first show, my future self from 30 years said, "It's just beginning now. Every day, pick up the torch of legacy to yourself and know that me in the future is waiting for that torch of legacy to be passed to me out of your free willed choice every day to do it through your heart and not give up on the world that will be giving up on everything."
Yep.
And I have to give myself some talking to, actually, because I'm so tired of the bullshit. Like, I have developed a very short fuse for it. Like, if I talk to somebody and I feel the agenda, I like the conversation is going to be very, very short. And I realize that about myself. So I think that's all part of the plan, right? Because I used to be like if I'm talking to somebody, like, and I feel any kind of thing, like, is he a rapist or something? I will stop talking to you. Because we're not starting a conversation from the point of view of defense. I will actually stop talking to you, right? If I feel the scanners going up on me, like, I didn't give you permission to scan me, first of all, right? When I feel the scanners going up on me, I'm like, yeah, nah, this conversation is ended.
I think, though, what we do, one of Andrew's phrases, igniting that passion spark.
Yeah.
And that's what he did for me all that time back, was ignite that passion spark within me. And I think if we can do that sat here now and every show and what we do in our own worlds, our own lives by nurturing ourselves. And as Andrew said, looking at the self-care, the self-nurturing, if we can do that and ignite that passion spark in others, even if there's just a little spark there, a little flame, the fact that we keep on turning up week after week to do this, and our community is growing, David, thanks to you and Andrew and what you're doing. I think that shows that, we have an amazing future. And when you can feel it, I feel it despite all the fear porn and everything going on. I've read enough of Andrew's material now to feel really good about, even through the difficult times and even through the hardships I've had to go through, that my flame has just got bigger and bigger and brighter. And I just hope that helps ignite others to step up and be the elders, the future elders, our 7 future generations
of ourselves, our clan, our nation, and our Earth Mother.
Beautiful.
We are the
Laura,
remembrers.
You want to share that quote, the fear porn quote?
Oh, the one I put on my Facebook. Yeah, I just thought it was quite relevant. So it's from one of yours. I can't remember which one, Andrew, you'll tell me. It's about the truth doesn't have to make sense to you. When the tsunami of fear porn washes up onto the beaches of your belief, will you be ready for the surge of fear and have the capacities to stand firm in your own beliefs and not take on the rampant spreading of the fear virus? Humanity has many choices in these infinite moments of now. It takes one choice to summon the courage, be vigilant, and know your actions are supported by the universe. The universe is not working against you. It's working for you. To learn this as a truth, you work with spirit, just spirit, and know the path is not broken. The way is clear. Our ancestors have mapped this out for us long ago. Now we must learn to read the maps and follow the path to greater awareness.
You know, that is such the imagery is so on point.
Mm.
And I want to say something which is less than appropriate. Would you let a bunch of news anchors from CNN or MSNBC, like let's say a man walked up to you and started masturbating and having an orgasm all over you? Would you allow that to happen? Why would you turn on the news and have it happen energetically?
Yeah.
Because that's the exact thing that's happening. They enjoy the work that they're doing, right? Oh, there's a war in Gaza, Israel, Hamas, and a whole bunch. And they get on the stage and they're like, "Do y'all feel it? Do y'all feel all the fear? Do y'all feel it?" And a bunch of people are like watching at their TV screens like this, waiting for this to culminate in some big disaster. You guys are engaging in fair porn. You have a bunch of news anchors from various, and I'm going to make this analogy very clear, masturbating in your faces. That's what it is.
Yes. Skeet, skeet, skeet. So Laura, that one was
The truth, the truth has no obligation to make sense to you.
Correct.
yeah. That
Do you want me to find
the
it?
day I left Barbados, I created that
Okay, yeah.
one. And the hub of interconnectivity came out of that one too. On my layover in Miami, a 9-hour layover in Miami, at a TGI Fridays in Miami, the one place you can smoke in that whole airport. It's just a hole surrounded by an airport that has a ceiling so you can smoke in it. Okay? And I created that there after I'd gone through immigration and everything.
So,
It's
so
brilliant.
Andrew,
It's brilliant.
were you watching the smoke go up to the ceiling? I'm thinking, oh, the hub of interconnectivity. Well, you put a little hole in the
Well,
ceiling.
the airport was its own hub of interconnectivity.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It was the metaphor that helped me grow that concept. And then having a couple drinks and then seeing the people that come and go and then me go, block them all out, enter the space. Because I do that very well. It doesn't matter what chaos is there. I've learned to go, no, you don't have any control over me. And enter that unique space where I can translate the 1 million letter alphabet and make a good job of it and go, all right, here's a legacy for the future and all those that wish to use it for the best.
I honestly think that in the darkest times we have the greatest inspiration.
That's right.
We do.
When we choose to have that inspiration, because it will not only shatter the darkness, it will improve your ability to shine light even stronger.
And recognizing that we created that, as our
right.
ancestral selves created that for our future selves, and it's our choice now whether to pick that up or not,
That's right.
to recognize it.
So, guys,
I remember so many of my teachings, I remember exactly where I was when I wrote them because I knew it would impact the future. I knew when I was done with it, fuck, this is going to impact the future.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, guys,
Like a
let's call
net-
it an end to the show. This has been a
Yeah.
fabulous show. David, give a way for people to get a hold of you.
Okay, you can reach me at info@unifiedhealthsystems.com. But wait, stop 1 second. You guys can just join the UCM community where we're online. We have a madam who is the madam of the house who is going to be dealing with reception and all that sort of stuff. So you guys can absolutely join that community. For those of you who are in the AI webinars group, I'll be sending you guys emails very soon. So don't freak out if you missed something. Don't freak out. I will send you all that stuff. If I have your email, it will be in your inbox before the end of today. Okay.
Amy, give away for people to get a hold
Yeah,
of you.
so I have a show called Unscripted. I almost said Inscripted. Unscripted. That's the point of it. Where a guest comes on and I ask them a question, and I'm gonna enhance the show a little bit coming down. I already have some plans to do different things, but if you'd like to get a hold of me to be a guest, you can message me on Facebook or pinkmoonlodgepodcast@gmail.com.
When was she shared with the producer? I don't know.
Dale, give away for people to get a hold of you.
Did you say me?
Sorry, did you say me, Andrew? It broke up
We
then.
can't hear. Yeah.
Dale.
Yeah, so if you'd like any sessions, head over to daletobin.com. I'm also going to be doing the training people in soul surgery, psychic surgery on the 17th and 18th of November. So head on to the website for the dates. And for those people who have done the psychic surgery training, the first one with me, I've got the second part of the psychic surgery journey, which is called Roadmap Back to the Grandmothers, which I'll be doing on the 3rd and 4th of November as well. So those who have done the psychic surgery already, the first part, there's going to be a second part as well. So yeah, thank you again, everyone. What a fun show.
Thank you.
Laura, give away people to get a hold of you.
Yeah, if you'd like me to help you reignite your passion spark so you can get the fullness of your life, I can do private sessions and ancestral connections and so on. We can go around your ancestors' fire. So I'm Laura 2feathers with the number 2 @gmail.com.
Well, you know who I am. We have a brand new light language product out. You can go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, and go to the shop. Brand new light language product. Many of you have been clamoring. There is a QR code off in the left-hand corner next to Laura's head. Scan that QR code and it will take you direct to that product. Many of you have been emailing and asking when this light language course is coming out. There's some amazing teachings there for you to find your voice. Light language is about finding your voice and being able to use it with strength and power. I am also open to doing sessions. You can go to my website and discover that. And we have some amazing new webinars coming up in conjunction with everybody. We are a collaboration of collaborators working together. And the key to collaboration is the equal co-creation between all those that are here and in the community. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this show. We will have our Friday night World of Warcraft game stream starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I am open to questions, as is every Friday night. Any question you have, come on into the Rumble room, and we will answer questions, no matter what the question is. And the reason we play World of Warcraft is to remind spiritual people that you can have fun even with a video game. There's a community within a community, and I encourage you all, come and give a tryout. Don't have a predetermined notion. I can play the game and talk to you at the same time. I've been doing it for 9 months. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye, Klaus. Bye, Jason.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Sam. Bye, Richard.
Bye, Sam. Bye, Richard.